Well, hello, and welcome to another Archeryshack Shop Talk. I'm Jeremy.
I'm TJ.
We're back again, players. We're back. Talk about some archery stuff.
Yep.
Thank you for tuning in. I always wonder where people are listening to us. Are they in the car, sitting on the shitter? What's going on here? I probably don't want to know.
Before we get started and everything, I want to thank everybody for the birthday wishes that came in. I appreciate it.
You look mighty old to be 16, man.
Kind of wish I was 16 again.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's another story for another day.
We got all kind of stuff to talk about. We got questions. We got answers. We got a featured product.
We
We're
think
gonna
we
talk
got
about-
answers.
We might not have answers. We got Google. I'm kidding. We went to our first shoot we're going to talk about of the year this past Sunday. Already got a video out on it. But to start it off, we're going to do our little featured product thing of the week, and it is this Big Shot Titan. I almost forgot the name of it. Broadhead target. This thing is pretty cool. We just got some Big Shot targets in. If you hadn't followed us on YouTube or Facebook, last year we got the Big Shot Ironman targets in. It's a field point target that you can literally shoot with like a 450 feet per second crossbow and pull it out with 2 fingers. I mean, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Look, there's a video on that already out, so they're cool. This year we added their broadhead targets to our mix. They start out at, according to what size, but they start out at around $100, and they're pretty slick. So they got dots, they got, I don't know if I can turn it without unplugging myself, but they got dots, they got rings.
They got a little gopher on the bottom.
Yeah, check out, can you see that? Yeah, that's right, it's turned right in it.
Yeah.
They got a gopher, you can shoot 5 sides of it. You got like a tic-tac-toe, you got like dots. Trying not to unplug my stuff here. You got like an ASA, setup. Anyway, so far we like them. Hadn't had a whole lot of shots put into one, but so far so good. And I think it'll be a good broadhead target, so check them out. We hooked up with Big Shot last year and started selling their targets. And literally, by like we ordered in at ATA show in January. Yeah. By like April, we were out of targets. That's how cool they are. And all we do is somebody comes in and even mentions a target, and they got their bow. We're like, hey, just shoot that one sitting right over there. They'll shoot it, and they'll be like looking at us like, why aren't we shooting a target in here?
Pull it.
Pull it, and they'll go, holy crap, how much are they? And then we sell them like 4.
Yeah.
But anyway, Big Shot's got some cool stuff. Check it out. And those Ironmans will hold up to like any crossbow too. So like you got a like a Raven or something, they'll work for those.
Yeah, it's a compound, recurve, and crossbows on the sticker.
Yeah. So cool stuff. Check out Big Shot targets. Hopefully you're local. If you're not local to us, come shoot one.
Yep.
If you're not, check out at your local shop. I don't know if anybody ships these things because they're kind of heavy, but check them out at your local shop or ask for them or whatever you need to do. Big Shot targets.
And they also have the, it's not the Techno Hunt. Which one is it? I'm drawing a blank. The video screen one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know what they call it.
I can't remember either, but it's pretty cool.
Big Shot makes a digital range pretty much, and we've actually thought about putting one in here. Because we used to, back in Bucks and Bass days, we had the dart system, which is a fancy thing that nobody had ever seen around here then, and it used to stay pretty full. So we thought about adding a 20-yard digital range on the side of the shop, and maybe something we do in the next 2 years. We'll see. I don't know yet, but it would be cool.
Yeah, it would be. We wouldn't get no work done because we'd be playing around too much.
Yeah.
But you ready to answer some questions?
I'm ready.
All right. We got one that came in on YouTube. It says, do I need to back my limbs off when storing my bow?
Not really. It would relieve some stress off the string and the limbs. Now, if you're going to store it for a long time, like as in, a couple of years or something, that might not be a bad idea. But if you're just, hunting with it and then there's a couple months between hunting season and then you put it down for a couple months and then pick it back up, I probably wouldn't worry about it. I mean, it wouldn't hurt anything if you did, but most people don't, and I don't see any issues with You know, because there's not a ton of stress on anything with the bow just sitting there. Obviously, the limbs have got stress on them, but I don't know. I probably wouldn't.
I think one of mine I've had in a case for a couple of years now, and I never did back them out.
Yeah.
But it was a backup bow, and I'll break it out once a year and sling 3 or 4 arrows through it and put it back up.
Now, I have, you know, the people that like, this bow's been in the closet for 7 years, you probably need, you know, you need new strings and everything anyway, because they're probably dried out. The oldest bow I can remember was a couple years ago. A guy brought I think it was an old Browning with freaking wood limbs in here, pulled it out of the case and was like, man, this thing's mainly just been in the case, but it hadn't had a string on it in like 27 years. And I was like, dude, I don't even want to touch this thing. And sure enough, I mean, it looked awful. The string did. The bow looked brand new. But anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah. Our next question comes in from Facebook. How much drop difference is there in 100 grain versus 125 grain at 40 yards?
There's a bunch of variables.
Yeah.
You know, draw weight, arrow speed mainly, that type of draw length, all that type of stuff. But just in general, you know, probably 2 inches. I mean, I'm just thinking average bow that's around 300 feet per second without running all these fancy numbers. 2-3 inches is what I would guesstimate from what I've seen.
Inch and a half, 2.5 maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
like 20, 30. I've had people come out here with multiple arrows that are like a lot of grains apart. You know, and at 20 yards, they pretty much group together or real close. But then you get on out to 40 and then you can see it. But with that, you know, 25 grains difference, not a ton, but a little bit. But that's also according to, like, if you're on 55 pounds and you're a 26-inch draw, it's going to drop a lot more than if you're a 29, 30-inch draw on 70 shooting, you know, some high speed. So,
yeah.
If you're just tinkering, I mean, you'll hit the target. If you're just wondering if, you know, if you change them, will it hit the target or whatever? Oh, absolutely. But
oh, yeah. You're not, I mean, if you're shooting at a good-sized target, I mean, you're not going to miss a target and sling one in your neighbor's house if that's what you're worried about.
Yeah.
So, next question comes in from Instagram.
Insta.
Best all-around shaft size for 3D indoor and hunting.
Well, adding the hunting scenario in there, I wouldn't shoot anything large diameter, so I'd shoot a standard size arrow, which, you know, there's a million of them out there. But I mean, you could even shoot a small diameter, but I would, you know, most people for 3D want something big, but standard size is not what I'd call big. But if you would have just said indoor and 3D, I'd have said, you know, you can, like me, I'm shooting a Black Eagle PS26 for everything other than hunting.
Yep.
But you wouldn't want to hunt with that, you know, because it's a thin wall, it'd explode, and it'd be a mess. I know a guy that did. When the Carbon Express CXL first came out, it was like roughly a 23 size big arrow, real brittle. But it was one of the first big arrows. I remember I got some and I thought I was the shit. But anyway, first big arrow, or one of the first, and a buddy of mine had bought some and shot 3D with it, and he was like, man, I just didn't want to switch arrows, so I hunted with it. And he said, I done shot 2 deer, and they both exploded when I hit the deer. And I was like, yeah, dude, they're freaking thin-walled tournament arrows. Why are you shooting them? And the bad thing was, I think they made a batch of camo ones back then. So he had the camo ones. That made it even worse because he thought that he could do it. But anyway, it killed the deer. It just broke the arrow in about 1 million pieces. But yeah, just standard size. Like, I mean, I'd probably get something 1 or 3 thousandths straight. You know, if it was me, like, and you walked into this shop, I'd probably lead you towards maybe a carnivore, maybe a zombie slayer, something of that nature would be my preference. I mean, the outlaw do just fine, really, but
you know, there's a lot of people we see now are, you know, they're shooting Axis arrows.
Yeah. Russ is shooting little bitty X impacts. At everything. So,
I mean, the trend is, you know, people are starting to shoot little small, you know, the micro diameter stuff. So, you know, if you all around, I mean, it's hard when you throw the hunting side in there on that shaft size because, you know, I agree with you. Probably a standard size is the way I would lean to, But, we know people that's running the X Impacts or Full Metal Jackets or stuff like that for all around. So I guess it's just, your personal preference. But
I'm trying to think. Yeah, there's really no bigger arrow I would be comfortable shooting deer with. So, yeah. Like TJ said, you can shoot whatever. You can shoot small up to a standard size.
Yeah.
And be fine.
But our next question comes in from Joe from Facebook. Should I wax my serving?
No. Somebody just texted me. Can we send the schedule for the shoots? Do not wax your serving because it's covering the string, which I know if you really got the wax hot, it would probably go through the serving and get into the string, but ultimately you're just going to goop up your cam. You're going to get it all nasty and grippy, and it's not going to be good. So no, don't wax your serving. The serving's there to kind of protect the string in an abrasive area, which is like around the cam, the string stop, the center serving, and it's going to make it slick on the center serving, which wouldn't really be great. And it's just going to gunk up your cam. So no, don't wax. Just the bare fibers and rub it in real good, get it into the string, that type of thing. And then I usually rub it in, and then I'll take a little piece of, you could use anything. You could use sewing thread or string serving if you got some, and I'll wrap it around like one time and then run up and down it. It's called burnishing. And I'll get that old junky wax out, put the new in, and then pretty much good to go. Because it don't hurt anything. I just hate, sometimes people bring bows in here, and it's like they just cake the wax on. Like they didn't rub it in at all. It's just caked. And I know that slows the bow down a couple feet per second and changes everything. So I wouldn't recommend that either. But you definitely, fibers dry out. You don't want that to happen. So keep a little bit of wax on it.
And then while we're on that subject, here's another thing that you don't want to do. And we've seen this come into the shop many times. But if you're shooting like a cable slide, like the old style, I say old style, but the one that come in to us was a Diamond Outlaw solo cam, and I don't know if they put 3-in-1 oil or put WD-40 on it.
Yeah.
Don't put it on your cable slide rod.
No, don't on the rod or the string. We've seen it on strings. I mean, I don't know. I guess people are just thinking, well, if wax is good, I'll spray this WD on my string and it'll be better. Nah, it makes a mess, and it just it's a mess. I don't even know what else to say, but
yeah. So yeah, don't put anything on your cable rod.
And like I think somebody texted me this. I didn't put it on the thing. I know they texted it to me in the last week. Said, what wax do you recommend? Boning. Is it boning? Tex-Tite?
Yeah, boning Tex-Tite.
I couldn't think who made it for 2 seconds. That's probably what most people are using, and it works good. It's tacky. It works. They have another product called Seal Tight, which is a bowstring wax, but it has like silicone in it to prevent, I guess if you're out in the rain, it tries to repel water, but it's real slick. I like both of them, but I think the Tex-Tite, if I had to say, here's something you will find easy, get the Tex-Tite.
No, a lot of people are shooting, what is it, Venom wax, using it?
Scorpion Venom.
Yeah, Scorpion Venom, that's it.
They got all kind of different stuff.
Yeah.
But pretty much any wax is very similar. It's just like the Scorpion Venom has definitely got some slickness to it. It's got some sort of a lubricant mixed in with it. The Tex-Tite's pretty much just a sticky wax that I like. The Seal Tight's got some kind of a slick, like a whatever in it. So pretty much, I mean, I don't think there's any wax out there that would be like, no, don't use that.
Yeah.
It's all pretty much good stuff.
All right. Next question comes in from a texter from the 854.
854.
Does anybody still shoot feathers, and thoughts on that? I do.
Me too. That's funny. I heard a pro say about 2 years ago that somebody said, why don't you shoot feathers indoor? And he said, I think they fly better. He said, but I don't want to be refletching arrows all the time because feathers tear up. And I thought, but if I knew they flew better, I wouldn't care. Especially if I was a pro. I shoot them. I've always, well, not always, but for the most part, shot feathers. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like there's more drag from a feather. They are louder, I know that, but I shoot them for tournaments and hunting. But I feel like they grip the air. I guess that's a word, grip the air, but they more drag, I guess is what I'm saying. I just feel like they steer better. That's just me. And I mean, well, I shoot with TJ. I got to refletch him every week. He
No,
goes.
No, wait a minute here now. I did not tear one of them up at tab.
You almost did.
I'll-
You and Russ both. It's on the video, I think. I shot and I heard wow, and I thought Russ had Robin Hooded it, and then somebody else slapped my shaft. I mean,
But I did not skin the feather.
for the love of God, man, have some respect. We'll talk about tab in a little bit. That's the local archery deal we went to.
The only drawback to feathers, which there is, I know Gateway makes some, Ozark makes some, like a treatment. If you do hunt with them and it does rain, they will lay down. And so, but they make some repellent that you put on there and it keeps them standing up, I guess you can say. That's really the only drawback to feathers that I see. But, I guess we're just different.
I guess the only other thing is True Flight, and I think it might be on their website. It used to be on something I had from them, but they did some tests and it showed that feathers were a little bit faster than vanes, and the research showed that feathers were faster than vanes out to 41 yards, and then from 41 to 61 they were pretty much the same speed, and then after 61 and further the vanes were faster. And I'm not a speed freak and I could care less about that, but something I heard and read and I thought I'd throw it out there. But my phone's still buzzing, or mine. True Flight's got some cool stuff on their website. I think they still do. I hadn't been to it in a while, but they used to have a lot of research about different stuff with feathers. And, also, like, if your feather hits something, I mean, like a limb or whatever, it'll sort of
Lay down
better than a vane where but I know you're not really shooting. I'm just saying worst case scenario, but anyway.
I guess we're just different. But anyway. Next question is from Jake from Twitter. My Sherlock has a rattle. I heard this was common.
It is actually. I still shot a Sherlock, or had one up until just a year or two ago, and that thing would had a buzz to it, and I switched scopes and everything, and finally, about 3 years ago at the ATA, I went to their booth and I was like, listen, is there anything, can I send this back and have y'all look at it or whatever? And they were like, what's it doing? I told them, and they said that was I guess from before they got bought out by Faradyne, which is a whole nother story, but they's like, those models all did it, so you got what you got. And then I've read through the years a bunch of people are like, man, the Sherlock's buzzing. It's pretty common. The only thing that calmed mine down a little bit, I don't remember what they call them, but they make those little bitty limb savers. They're like maybe quarter size, maybe not even quarter size. And one time I stuck one of those on the side of it, and it did calm it down a little bit. But it's in the head of the slide bar, like where the scope attaches to the third axis block and all that. There's just something that wants to move because it runs up and down that rod on the worm gear. There's just too much slop in it, I think. But it's common.
Yep. Next question comes in from a texter from the 617. How do I remove my inserts?
Very carefully. So you want to, the way I do it, if I absolutely have to, is I put a very large, the biggest filled tip I can find in it, and I apply heat to the very, 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 very distal tip of that filled tip, the very end. And slowly I'll, heat it up some and kind of pull on it. And because you don't want to put too much heat on it. As soon as that insert will start sliding out, I'll just slowly pull it out. Now here's something I have learned. If you try to twist the insert out, sometimes it'll grab the carbon and the inner carbon will blow out. So you need to pull it straight out with no twist. And again, you don't, the minimal heat as you can do. And it's not ideal. We occasionally have some reason we have to do it here, and I'd say about 85% of the time works out, but there's that 15% of the time it's going to crack,
Yeah.
And you just make sure you really look it over after you do it and make sure, there's no cracks or nothing bad happen.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before, but don't, use some sort of a super glue type of glue, or epoxy. Don't use a hot melt on carbon, not recommended. That's about it. But it's pretty aggravating. And I usually end up like putting what I think's a lot of heat on it, and I'll kind of tug on it, and it won't budge. So I'll just keep just 5-10 seconds on the heat. But if you ever get the flame on the carbon, it'll literally just, I hate to say explode, but it'll just crack and smell awful, and it's done. So don't get the heat anywhere near the carbon itself.
I think the worst ones to do are the ones that's got the hidden insert, because there's really, that fill tip button up against to the carbon, you have to leave it unscrewed where you don't get any heat near that carbon. But I can't tell how many times I'd go to do it and pull the fill tip out where the threads wasn't even catching but like one thread, and it would just pull out. So
yeah, it's a mess. And then I think Jackie did it one day. If I for some reason got an example of why we would have to do it is a guy comes in and says, hey, I need my arrows cut off like a 1/2 inch. So we can't cut them and then pull it out because it'd be in the insert. So we got to pull the insert out and then cut them. We were doing that one day, and Jackie, snatched one out and then grabbed it, trying to get the tip out. And I mean, it'll be quite warm.
Oh, yeah.
I always get me a little tub of water. As soon as I pull it out, I'll just kind of, and you hear it, it'll cool it off real quick, or at least it might still be warm, but you can touch it.
Yeah.
But
anyway, I don't know where this one come in from, but my bow maxes at 73 pounds, and it's a 70-pound bow. Is something wrong?
Probably not. Typically, like when we restring a bow, or even like new bows on the wall, I've noticed these primes come in and the sticker won't say 70 pounds now. It'll say exactly what it's on. So they'll be like 71.9 or 72.4 or whatever. But in general, if I'm restringing a bow, I kind of I don't want it to be under 70 pounds, but I kind of, if it's a 70-pound bow, if it's between like 70 and about 73, that's pretty close. I'd rather it be between like 70 and 71, maybe 71 and a half, but there's definitely a little, limb deflections and all that, there's a little variance. And I'll say between the Bear, PSE, and Prime bows we've got in this year, most are in that, they'll max within that range, like 3 pounds heavy is kind of the range. You get much more than that, and I start worrying about cable links being off and all that. But like we restring a bow, you check axle to axle, max it out, axle to axle, brace height. If that hits, then I check the scale. That's like my 3 safeties or whatever. You know what I mean? If the axle to axle and the brace height's right, perfect. If the scale's within about 2 pounds, we're good to go. It was a good starting point, And I'm not going to get it way out of whack or anything, but
no.
They typically come in a few pounds heavy from what we've seen. So no, nothing's crazy.
Yep. We don't know what bow he's got. Don't know if it's a new bow, an older bow, but yeah, I think he's safe right there. Well, that's all the questions I got. And so,
questions.
I know here in South Carolina, our 3D season is, can you say full swing?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it went from hunting season, 3-week break, every weekend there's a shoot or two. So
my question for this week is, since, if you're not shooting 3D in your area, then you can still answer this. I mean, what is your absolute favorite 3D target that you like to shoot? And mine, we hadn't got to shoot it a whole lot, but we did at the Total Archery Challenge, and that's that little mini elk that Reinhardt come out with.
Yeah.
That little target is just fun to shoot. It will mess with your head, but it is that is probably my favorite target.
I'll tell you what I've had luck with for some reason. 2 years ago, they added the Delta McKenzie links onto the ASA circuit. And I feel like almost every time I've shot that thing, I've hit a 12. And I don't know why it is. I don't know if it's just the colors where I can get to the 12 or what. But it seemed like that year in particular, it came out or whatever, I was just drilling 12s on it. I don't know why I do good with that target. Target I hate is that Reinhardt Rising Boar.
Oh, man.
The scoring rings are low, and it's hard to see through the binoculars because there's like fur and hair into the, detail in the target, and
it's completely backwards than what you think, where you need to aim. You know, most of them, if you don't have binoculars or anything like that, you pretty much can come up behind the front leg and pretty much center mass. You're going to be in the 10 ring easy.
Mm-hmm.
With that target, you come almost off the back leg and come up. Yeah. And you don't come up far.
No, I mean, it's weird.
It's a weird.
I always shoot high and like right. And that dang Catalina goat always gave me trouble. We've got 2 of them here, and I've got better because we've got them here now. But it's still, for the couple of years there where Reinhardt's were the ASA targets, man, I'd come up on that goat and be like, crap, this is going to suck. And then I bought one.
I still hate that target.
Yeah, I bought one and practice because the lower 12 on it was weird to me. And then, I don't know. You don't see them that much anymore because I don't know why. A few people still got one, but anyway.
And then, you know, I have a bunch of the targets I like to shoot. And, you know, on the Reinhardt side of it, you've got that mini elk. Probably is by far my favorite. If you get a chance to shoot a R100 shoot, go shoot that, because the giraffe is cool. You know, it's just a lot of different targets. The standing red stag is a good one to shoot at.
That's a real good one. And it's standing up so tall, you really got to look at it to see where to aim.
And then Bigfoot.
Yeah, Bigfoot's a good one.
So,
and then we freaked people out. We had that shoot last weekend. Actually, I guess it'll be 2 weekends ago, technically. We put out the last target was a dang armadillo from R&W, and it's funny because it has full-size scoring rings.
Yep.
The scoring rings on it are the same size as a full-size deer or bear or pig or whatever. But somebody came in, about 20 shooters had went through, and he's like, "Man, there's only like 5 holes in that whole target." And I was like, "Do what?" He said, "There's arrows exploded everywhere." It just freaked people out. Same size scoring, 10 and 12 ring, but people are just the size of the target freaked them out. And I think it was 29, 30 yards, something like that.
Yeah, it was a good little shot, but we didn't get to shoot in it. We were manning the counter and trying to build some strings, which didn't happen too much. But
I'm glad the 3D season's come around, because it's like it's a big build up to deer season. Then deer season starts, and it's so freaking hot here, you don't really want to hunt. Then the rut hits, and you got 2 or 3 big weeks, and then it's like done. And then you still got like a month of deer season left, to where do you want to freeze? Well, it don't get that cold, but it's cold. You want to get cold and hunt. There's no 3D shoots. There's really not indoor unless you just go play around, and you're waiting for a month and a half for it to come around, and finally it's here. The weather's been pretty decent. We shot
tab this past weekend,
and it was 34 when we got there, and that is a little chilly, but moving around it wasn't that bad. And then I think by the time we left, it was in the 50s maybe. So
we shot it the year before, and it was 17 degrees.
It was bad. We had on some clothes, son, some clothes, and I'm just glad it wasn't that cold. But they had a good turnout, and I'm glad. I think they had, I didn't count exactly how many, but they just released the scores last night. But, they had a good crowd. I did a video on it, speaking of that. Check out, it says like Tab Archery 126 or something, and I got me a drone just for the purpose of overhead shots on these 3D shoots or whatever, but the parking lot was like slap full when I broke out the drone, so people were looking like, the government's here to kill us. And I was like, I'm just taking a quick film. Y'all stand by. But anyway, it was pretty fun.
But yeah, if you're local and, and you want to shoot, Tab is a good shoot to go to. It's really easy walking, not really all that hard. Got a couple hills, couple bridges, but overall, it's a good little club to shoot at.
The Kiwi Bowman's having a shoot this weekend, which will actually be after this podcast comes out, but I'm sure I think it's Saturday. The weather's kind of iffy, but Sunday's supposed to be nice, so hopefully they'll have a good shoot. And then back to Tab, and then we're having another shoot out here February the 22nd, 2020. I got to get all that out on Facebook, but we had a good turnout here.
Yeah. I think the only biggest thing was people like, do you not have any big targets? I always see a small target.
It was just luck of the draw. We've got like 55 targets, and we store them in like a barn, and we just go in there and grab and throw them in the truck. And I guess I don't know. It goes back and forth. I remember one time we ended up with a bunch of pig targets. I mean, it felt like half the range was pig targets, and everybody's like, these damn black pigs are everywhere. And I was like, well, it wasn't really planned. This is what we grabbed, and we was in semi-hurry trying to get them out. But anyway, we'll see what we can do about that next time. The little targets were neat, though. We had the armadillo out. We got a new skunk target we put out. Just sort of novelty targets you wouldn't see anywhere else. But
that little wolf that we got, that was actually a cool-looking target.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have got a chance to go out and shoot, but my bow was not ready to go at that point in time.
Well, we didn't get to shoot here. It was fine, just a lot of foot traffic. Had a couple bows we were trying to get done. Yours was being worked on. Mine wasn't even sighted in. I was trying to just get sighted in for Sunday. I stepped out there for like 15 minutes and got a quick sight tape, and it worked out. But anyway, good times. We'll try to shoot next time.
Yeah, and that's crazy because you went out and got your sight tape. I come out after retying the peep in and everything, and pretty much used my rangefinder and made sure, because mine and your rangefinder is normally about a yard to a yard and a half apart. Mm-hmm. So if I forget mine or you forget yours, they're so close together. So I went out there and ranged the bags, got everything. Sight tape was on. We get the tab, and I was going off of your rangefinder and still adding marks to it.
That's
adding
crazy.
yards. So I don't know what happened in between, but
I don't know.
She's at the old Bo's at the doctor's office right now getting worked on.
In the vice back here.
Yeah. So.
And I've had that. I hate when that happens. Like, I've got the places and my sight tape's like 2 yards off, and then I'm trying to think, well, it's a further target. Should I add 3 yards, or is it closer? Should I add 1? And it just turns into a mess. And you never know what, you had your peep move when we shot indoor or whatever.
Yeah.
Just the tiniest little thing can get touched or moved, and it'll throw it all out of whack. And it's like, oh crap.
When I broke it out of the case, like I said, it sat in the case after tournament season. I think we went up to Kiwi and shot indoor a couple times, and it was fine. We went up there right before Christmas and shot, I think it was.
Yeah.
And got up there and I was hitting low, and I kept thinking, what in the world? And so I ended up moving my sight down. I moved it. I was 5 yards off, and I got to looking, and I'm like, I got to paying attention. I really wasn't paying attention. We was just having fun. And I noticed I was having to drop my head to see through the peep. I'm like, I figured it out. Which we were about done tinkering at this point or playing around. So I was like, I'll fix it later. And 3D got up on us, and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't fix it. So that's what happens whenever you don't take the time to fix your stuff when you notice it. But
yep.
Like I said, we was getting ready to put new strings on it and reset her up. So
I gotta get some of our strings on mine. I got them. Well, you laid them out. I served like one piece. I gotta get on the game here, but it's
well, we're still waiting on
parts and accessories and all that good stuff. But it's about that time to get wide open. I still think the weather's tricking us though.
Yeah.
It's been 50s, maybe even 60s. I think Sunday is supposed to be like 70. But I still think we're going to have a big snow or something. And it's liable to be even in March.
It's been known to happen.
In March, we've got, if you may have shot one in your area, but the R100's coming up to Georgia, Homer, Georgia, about an hour from us. We always try to shoot it. And then in May, the Total Archery Challenge is in Tennessee. We're going to check it out again.
Yep.
What other big ASA's kind of hanging in Alabama. We may try to hit one of them, but
I can't remember. What is it? The Fort Benning shoot is the one that is the closest one to us now.
Maybe I can't remember. I hate that they left Augusta, but
yeah.
And then a bunch of local stuff. We're gonna keep doing at least once a month type of deal here at the shop and that type of thing, and So 3D season is good for us. I know the northern folk are still snowed in, and
Yeah.
either shooting indoor or shooting nothing, so that's no fun.
Nope.
Somebody commented on something earlier and said they listened to us and lived in Florida, but we're moving to South Carolina this year or next year or something. So
I remember seeing that, and
I don't remember if it was on YouTube or where.
it was on YouTube. I meant to write it down to give a shout out. Let's see if I can get her real quick.
It blows my mind how many people listen to this thing. We started it as a dang, ears are getting hot. Go ahead.
Let's see here. Reed Meeks.
You might as well stay in Florida.
Fort Myers, Florida. He says he is hoping to move to South Carolina Savannah Lakes this year.
Hmm.
And then
I always wish I was in Florida about this time of the year when it's so freaking cold. Well, I call it cold. I know it's not bad, but I don't know.
I don't mind it. I kind of like it myself.
What was I going to talk about? I lost my train of thought. Oh, we started this as just playing around, seeing what would happen, and we get freaking calls all the time during the week in the shop. Hey, listen to your podcast or seen your video about XYZ. We've had people drive in from hours and hours away, which is crazy to me. But thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Thank you for listening and calling and checking in with us. That's pretty cool. Even local people that I wouldn't even think listen to a podcast or whatever have come in and been like, hey, I heard y'all talking about whatever. And I'm like, whoa, you listen to it? You know, because, I mean, I promote it a little bit, but I don't go over the top like putting it on everywhere every week. Hey, we got another one out. I probably should, but it just blows my mind how many people watch it and hear it and that type of thing. And it's crazy. I looked at the stats again the other night. I meant to tell you about it. We looked at them together a month or two ago, but a lot of people in Canada listen. A lot of people. Australia was the one that blew my mind. I forget how many a week was listening in Australia. So,
well, I just wonder though if they're making fun, just making fun of us down
probably.
there. I mean, I don't know.
Probably. They're probably like, listen at these rednecks. Let's put another shrimp on the barbie. Nah, I don't know, but a lot of Australian people are listening. So thank you. I'd love to come visit. It'd be cool. I can't get TJ on a plane, so we'd have to canoe over there.
Yeah. But no airplane for me.
Lancaster happened last weekend, I guess, 2 weekends ago when you hear this.
It's crazy of all the big names that didn't make it to the shoot-ups.
I know.
That was crazy. From
a lot of changes as far as people, just new people. I mean,
yeah, which is a good thing, I think.
Oh, yeah, it is. It is. Not the same people every time, but Vegas is coming up in a couple of weeks. I'll be curious to see how that goes. Trying to think of what else has happened. Nothing too crazy.
No.
I can't even think of like any bow explosions or nothing like that in the past
we
week.
still got the one back here in the bomb-proof case.
Yeah, we're waiting on cams for it. It's a Bowtech that somebody, I already talked about it, but he stuck a freaking screwdriver in the cam to press it or whatever, and so it warped cams, tore the cables off. Who knows what all we're going to find when we tear it apart. But
yeah,
we decided to put it into a hefty SKB case so that if it exploded any more,
all the parts would be contained.
We were just like, just do something with it until we get the parts. But we got it in the hallway. So
I guess the interesting story of the week was on Monday, the 18-wheeler showed up with the big shot order.
So me and Jackie were here, and we made our big shot target order at the ATA show, and it was, I think, 48 targets total. And most of those are the Ironman targets, and they are heavy. I mean, heavy, heavy. And I got the invoice or the whatever last week, so I knew they had shipped them or were about to ship them, and I told TJ, we'll be on the lookout. Because last year when they came in, it was a mess. I was in here with a couple people showing them a prime bow or something. The 18-wheeler shows up. We don't have a loading dock, and the 18-wheeler can't even make it down the driveway to our shop because of the fence and the trees and this type of thing. So he has to park on the road and about block the road. So TJ goes out there with his truck, and him and Blake Foster put them on top of the truck and the back of the truck, on the hood. I mean, they come pulling up, and I was like, oh, Lord. Well, this year we, doubled or tripled that order. So Me and Jackie are in here. I think we were making a bowstring or two, and bonk bonk. And I was like, I looked over at the security camera, and I was like, oh no, Jackie's got the old pacemaker, and so that I knew that wasn't gonna be his cup of tea. And the poor little fella come out, and he was about 120 pounds soaking wet that was driving that truck, big old thing. And I was like, oh Lord. So I pulled the truck over there, and we loaded and loaded and loaded. And the funniest part to me though was, car came top of the hill flying, and that guy was up in the back of that truck going, "Ma'am, whoa, whoa!" He was shaking his hands. He's like, and I didn't like dive out of the way, but I got out of the way because she was moving, and I thought, well, maybe this will teach some of these people a lesson. Come flying through here, but anyway,
I just remember getting a Marco with a big old 18-wheeler sitting out front in the middle of the road. I'm
it
like,
was a mess.
oh boy, I remember that from last year.
Freight shipments are always a mess here.
Yeah,
But usually there's not this quantity and heaviness of stuff. He had 2 whole freaking pallets, and I was thinking, Lord, this couldn't be a worse day. But
at least it wasn't raining.
at least it wasn't raining, and wasn't that big a deal. But I was sore for about 2 days after that. I mean, no joke. Some of them bigger Ironmans, probably, what do you think they weigh?
Shoot, that 30-inch target over there, I bet you weighs 150 pounds easy.
That's no joke. I mean, that's no joke.
I mean, you little 18s, they probably weigh about 40, I would say.
Yeah.
40, 45, and the 24s, they right there about 50, I would think. You know, just guessing.
Yeah, but it was interesting. I guess that is the story of the week. Me out there huffing. My dang, a guy we went to school with comes by. He lives down the road. He's like, what you got there? And I was like, targets. And I was thinking, thank God, he's probably going to offer to help. He's like, all right, man, have a good one. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me, joker. Jackie's over there taking oxygen. And but anyway, we got him in here. And we got a lot of targets. So if you need a big shot target and you're local listening, come check them out. We got
Bag targets.
Yeah, we got bag targets at like $40 price range. We got the Iron Man, which was a big seller last year, an 18, 24, 30 inchers. They would be a good, like any kind of, I mean, these 30 inchers would be great if you had like a little mini somewhere you shoot in the house and needed a target inside, or even a range type target,
Yeah.
put out at like 60 yards or 80 or whatever. The little ones would be good ones to just go throw out in the yard and move them around. These broadhead targets would be good. It almost reminds me of that Reinhardt cube, because you could about take it by the handle and just sling it,
Yep.
and it's going to land some which way to where you could shoot it, But it's got the animal, the ASA rings, a tic-tac-toe looking ring, other
Just
all kind of stuff.
a 5-spot. And
Yeah. But I've been happy with them. I've been real happy with them. And then we got some 3D targets from them. They bought R&W targets out a couple years ago, and we ended up with I'm looking a skunk, an armadillo, a raccoon. We got 5 or 6 little 3D javelina.
a woodchuck.
Yeah, woodchuck. So,
Did you say armadillo already?
yeah, that'll be some neat stuff.
Little raccoon. And
We got spot hog stuff in. We got Fast Eddies, Fast Eddy XLs, whippersnapper releases. So check those out. I put some on Facebook about them last night, but the Fast Eddy is hard to keep in stock. Last year, almost every time we got a shipment in, they were gone. I mean, I put that out last night, and I think at least 3 or 4 people messaged me. How many you got? What size are they? How much are they? So those are cool.
I think, and it's all nowadays. I know a lot of people are, wanting to buy everything made in the USA. And, Spot Hog is a company. They're out of Oregon, I think. Am I right?
I keep donging this thing. I was grabbing over there.
And I mean, they stand behind their product. I mean,
yeah, and it's a stout product.
Yeah.
Good people to talk to, and they got it. They got a lot of neat. I mean, they got releases. They got sights. The Hooter Shooter, which is a bow shooting machine. They made that axle aligner or cam, whatever you want to call it, that we use.
the laser.
Yeah, some of their stuff's expensive, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
That little whippersnapper is like $100.
That's
that's a good feeling release.
Yeah. Partain that helps us out here, he's a spot hog fan from
Oh, yeah.
way back. He had, I can't remember what he had, a Tommy hog or something like that. The clear plastic ring that went over the fiber optic on his sight had done turned cloudy and everything. He calls them up, and they're like, well, which one do you need? He's like, and he told him, he's like, what's your address?
Yeah.
And they put it in the mail that day to him,
Yeah.
no questions asked or anything. So,
Yeah. Pretty cool people.
yeah. So, been
Pretty
really
cool.
impressed with them. And, you know, that's just, we don't actually have any in the shop right now, but Excel's a good product,
Yeah.
you know, on the upper end side of it.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good ones.
Oh, yeah.
This True Glue. Trophy Taker, trophy. I can't get it right.
Trophy Ridge.
Trophy Ridge. We got a lot of Trophy Ridge stuff that came in, especially for like some price point stuff. You know,
Yeah.
you can start at like $60-$70 and go up to $300, and we got it all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So micro adjustable or just plain old easy sight or whatever. I mean, we got it. So
Yep.
Trophy Ridge has got all kind of neat stuff. Rest sights,
Stabilizers.
releases, yeah. But anyway, we'll wrap this old show up. But
Yep.
thank you for listening, and shoot us some more questions.
Yep.
We love your questions. We
We
try
do.
to get them all on here. Appreciate you commenting on the stuff, checking in with us. So I guess until next time, we'll be here.
Yep.
Working on bows, answering the phone, talking to y'all, making bowstrings, and thinking about mashed potatoes.
Before we get off here,
Uh-oh.
if you hadn't hit the subscribe button or the bell
Yeah.
button, do that. I don't know how close are we to 1,000.
I think we were at 916 last night, so we're trending within the month to have 1,000. So that the reason you've probably heard us say it, but we want to hit 1,000 subscribers because we can go live from the cell phone and not have to set up a laptop and all these cameras and crap. So once we hit the 1,000, we're really thinking about picking a night each week at a certain time and going live for like 30 minutes to an hour. And it could, I don't know what it'll be yet. It could be us just answering questions, or it could be us out in the shop working on a bow or fletching arrows or making strings or whatever. We don't know how we're going to do it yet, but we'll probably, right now we're doing a podcast Wednesday morning, and then on Sunday, like a tune-in video or something to that effect, a product review, whatever comes out. So we'll probably go to 3 videos at that point and do a live night. A podcast comes out on another day, and then, a tune-in video comes out. So we're just waiting to hit 1,000, and we're not far away. So yeah, if you hadn't done that yet, we'd appreciate it.
Yep.
And I looked at this. I can't talk statistics. I think only like 8% of people that watch our stuff are subscribed, and I was like, man, if we could get even to 20%, we'd be a couple thousand subscribers. So anyway, we'd appreciate y'all giving us the old subscribe and hit the notification bell.
Yep.
And we'll just keep on doing what we're doing. Thank you for the feedback on stuff you'd like to see and hear. And we'll see you next week.
That's right.
See y'all later.
See ya.